A big step for SpaceX this weekend in its bid to develop reusable rockets, successfully catching a descending rocket booster on the launch pad. But officials in California putting up some hurdles to even more expansion for the startup. Our Deidre Bosa is watching that in today's Tech Check. Morning, Dee.
Hey, morning, Carl. Yeah, incredible footage from over the weekend. And Musk, of course, is pushing the bounds of technology on so many different fronts. He's going to need regulators and lawmakers to support all of these different missions, from robotaxis to his brain implant startup Neuralink to SpaceX, now the second most valuable startup in the world. Now, all of the tech world was in awe of the test this weekend, but it is clear that his politics are now impacting his ability to operate here in California. The state commission has rejected a request to increase the number of rocket launches on the Central Coast, citing concerns about environmental impacts. But within their discussion, the commissioner cited Musk's politics, saying Elon Musk is hopping about the country, spewing and tweeting political falsehoods and attacking FEMA while claiming his desire to help the hurricane victims. It appears, she says, that rather than prioritizing the welfare of SpaceX employees and the environment, the focus has been on profit maximization. Now, Musk, as he often does, he hit back on X, writing alongside a Politico story on that California rejection. He writes, incredibly inappropriate. What I post on this platform has nothing to do with a coastal commission in California. He ended with filing suit against them on Monday for violating the First Amendment. Now, all of this really just underscoring that Musk's big hits, like the Starship test over the weekend, they often sit in contrast to his politics that risk alienating key stakeholders that are vital to the success of his businesses. At the same time, Musk has found more support in Texas and is making it his preferred base of operations for several of his companies. The reality, though, is that he still has operations here in California and is largely dependent on the state for talent, manufacturing, and testing. Walter Isaacson, Musk's biographer, he was on Squawk Box this morning talking about how intertwined his politics and businesses are becoming.
He doesn't really care. He's even his Tesla board of directors, even his brother, is like, calm down, get off the politics kick, because it's certainly hurting Tesla. You look at the California Coastal Commission that has to decide or recommend whether or not he can launch rockets from Vandenberg Air Force Base, as they've done for 20 years. And as they're voting to maybe deny him the rights to do more rockets from there, one of the commissioners says, well, I've been reading his tweets, and it's bad politically.
Tesla shares, they are up by nearly 1% today, but they're still down since that Cybercab event underwhelmed investors last week. And here, especially when he's developing FSD and robotaxis under increasing pressure from regulators and government agencies. Guys?
I don't know. I feel like the question is not whether he's hurting his businesses. It's what is the state of California trying to do and hurt their own prospects of business, getting so political against someone for having opinions.
No, and I think that there's several people who have made that argument, is that they shouldn't be introducing politics. But I would just say, whether or not you agree with that, that is impacting his ability to do business here. If he wasn't tweeting, if he wasn't posting, if he wasn't getting involved in political campaigns, they wouldn't have as much reason to hit back against him. But you could argue, certainly, I think, Sarah, that California on many fronts for a number of time has regulated more like the Europeans. They've been more onerous with their regulations, but Musk is not helping his case whatsoever here if he still needs to operate here, which he does.
Meantime, there were these reports of him actually opening an XAI office in San Francisco. I think the headline on Politico was Elon Musk just can't quit California.
No one can quit California, Carl. I mean, remember, everyone tried to do it during the pandemic, and they're coming back because the bottom line is that this is where a lot of the tech talent is. It's where a lot of the VC dollars are. So a lot of folks are coming back here and can't quit California. I mean, that's part of the problem. You can move your headquarters somewhere else, but you know, you've got the universities and the colleges here, and a lot of the businesses building.
So is the thing, you have to support a Democratic president to do business there?
No, I don't think you have to support anyone. And this is not a political statement. I think it's just, if he wasn't coming out for either, if he was keeping his politics and business separately, he may not be facing these problems. I think what's increasingly evident is him coming out, and that's not me saying he should or shouldn't, is just hurting his ability to do business here.
We'll watch it, Dee. We'll see what it means for Texas as well. Deidre Bosa with Tech Check today.